Alright, hear me out. Let's say you had a time machine. After weeks of traveling to different places and experiencing historical events, you get curious. What was the world like 200,000 years ago? You remember watching the Flintstones as a kid and wonder, could you actually talk to a real-life caveman? But as you arrive, sparks start flying. Seems like 200,000 years of travel was too much for the budget time machine you could barely afford. You step out and walk for a bit. It's silent. The world is familiar yet so alien. The trees look different, the air feels heavier, and the land is untouched by modern civilization. After a long walk, you hear something. A primal whisper. You turn around and see this. What you just experienced is the Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley is a psychological phenomenon where something looks almost human, but not quite.
And that not quite part is what unsettles us. Our brains recognize something is wrong, something is off, and that feeling sends a shiver down our spine.
For example, did you notice that it was an AI version of me reading the script? Well, yeah, you probably did, but still, if you didn't, that may have been a little eerie for you. The Uncanny Valley is mostly associated with wax dolls and humanoid robots and even CGI characters in movies and games. So basically, the more you try to make something look human, the more uncanny it becomes. But what if I told you, this fear may have developed due to early humans? Our distant ancestors weren't quite like us. They looked human enough, but something about their features, their expressions, their posture, it doesn't sit right with us. Their faces were just a little too heavy, their brows a little too thick, and their movements a little too unfamiliar and stiff. Even though these beings were intelligent and capable, even social, seeing one in the flesh today would make most of us feel deeply uncomfortable. For example, check out this YouTube short I found. But now the question is, why is this? Our fear from the uncanny comes from deep within our evolutionary history. Think about it. Early humans didn't just live among their own kind. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors shared a planet with other species of human. And there is evidence that we reproduced with the Neanderthals, for example, because I believe it was like 2% of European and Asian
have Neanderthal blood, which means you watch it, we have it too.
Imagine walking alone in the woods 50,000 years ago and spotting a pair of eyes staring at you from the darkness. Not quite human, but human enough. Our ancestors competed with these beings for survival. And while they weren't monsters, the difference between us and them were just enough to trigger an instinctual fear. A warning system hardwired into our brains, telling us to be cautious of things that look like us, but aren't quite us. Also, let's note that Neanderthals were like 3 times stronger and faster than us. And that fear hasn't gone away. Today we experience the Uncanny Valley when we see lifelike robots, wax figures or eerie CGI faces that try to mimic us but fail just enough to make them creepy. Our brains react the same way they did when our ancestors encounter a stranger in the wild. A deep-rooted unease that warns us something isn't right. So next time you feel that shiver down your spine when you see a lifelike doll, an unsettling face in a horror game, or even an old portrait that looks too human, yet not human enough, remember that fear is ancient. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into curious and disturbing stuff. That's all for today, and I'll see you next time.